our legal
Yep.
status here.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer from Utility Unlocked. Guys, this in no way, shape, or form is us telling you to buy a token. The three of us here at Utility Unlock are here every week to do a deep dive into projects that you want to talk about, or you want us to talk about. So we spend every week going into a project, the ins, the outs, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we figure out, from our perspective, any irrelevant information that we can share with you guys. It is not us telling you to go buy WLFI. It is simply a abundance of information. So, like any show that we do, it is a community show. What we mean by that specifically is we want you guys to interact as much as humanly possible. Add to what we're saying, talk about what we're saying. We'll eventually get to most information, but sometimes people have some pretty knowledgeable things. So share it if you got it. And then as we go, I have this trusty pen, I have this white paper. You guys, if you have any questions, please ask them. If we haven't answered at the end of the show, I will ask the two co-hosts the questions that you've asked us, and you can 100% hopefully get the information that you need. If we don't know, we'll look it up on the screen, and if we don't know, we'll come back next week and tell you. So I think that is it. Did I miss anything?
All right. So as always, I like to start off these lives by kind of talking about what the real world problem actually is before we start to get into the projects that's trying to offer the solution. So the underlying idea here is that the traditional financial systems are very restricted. They're slow, they're difficult to access them. Even a lot of them are very selective for who can participate in them. And there is this belief that a decentralized system can offer people more control over their money. So the problem being addressed here, it's not like it's a technical issue, but it's more of like a trust and an access problem. And there is this growing assumption, and that there's essentially just a large group of individuals who feel like they're excluded from traditional finance. You got people who don't trust the banks, there's people who don't trust the regulators, and there's people who want an alternative system that operates outside of your traditional systems. And that story, that foundation, is very relevant to the creators of this project because these are people who have experienced that. These are people that have been debanked. And that is telling us something important right away, right? This project is not trying to replace your financial plumbing, but it's offering an alternative to your traditional finance. And they're doing that on top of existing crypto infrastructures. So World Liberty Financial is positioning itself as a decentralized finance platform where I guess they're just trying to focus on like financial freedom and access for everybody. Now, World Liberty Financial, it's not a layer one blockchain. It's not a settlement network. It's not middleware connecting banks or institutions or traditional finance. What it is, it's a DeFi application that sits on top of existing crypto infrastructures. So that means that it is relying on blockchains that already exists, smart contracts that already exist, liquidity that already exists, and they're doing that inside of the DeFi ecosystem, right? There's no proprietary ledger, there's no consensus mechanism here. There is not even new financial plumbing that's being introduced here. So structurally, this project, it lives at the application layer, not the infrastructure layer. That's something that I'm going to kind of discuss a lot tonight, the difference between a application layer and an infrastructure layer. So I think that the distinction matters a lot because the application layers, they don't grow because the financial system needs them to function. They grow because users will participate in it. Users will choose to use this application. And the success of application systems depend on user adoption and whether or not that liquidity is going to decide to stay in this ecosystem or it's going to jump to somewhere else. So when we look at World Liberty Financial through the lens of an application layer, we're not evaluating whether or not this project is going to upgrade the financial system. We're evaluating whether or not this ecosystem can attract and retain the users in a very competitive DeFi environment. Guys, please.
Go ahead.
Where do you want me to start?
Leo, do you have anything to add to what he just said?
No, I think he really touched. He really touched on pretty much everything that. Yeah.
I would just say regarding that, it really is an ecosystem that they're trying to build up. The ecosystem is to integrate again, DeFi, you're right, stablecoin payments, governance, tokenization of real world assets, DeFi lending and borrowing, we just talked about, yield services, and broader financial infrastructure plays is what they are claiming to be. In case chat doesn't know yet, I'm going to push hard on this one. So I think it's more of a claim that they're going to be creating this ecosystem. Go ahead, Billy.
Team, you want to just go straight throat?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. At the beginning of every our shows basically start with the team, right? And I'm gonna definitely take off my jacket for this one because it's important. I'm gonna start with this chat. Chat, who likes riddles? Anyone? Because I got one for you. How do you turn $2.5 million loss into 2.6 billion? I want you to hold on to that, okay? I'll give you the answer, but I want to unravel a few noteworthy items. For starters, does anyone know this quote? Oh, what a tangle web we weave when first we practice to deceive. And it sounds like Shakespeare.
It sounds like Trump.
Definitely not Shakespeare. It's a Scottish author called Walter Scott. And I want you to hold on to that because what I just said will make sense when I finish all of this. I want you to meet the brains of the genesis of WLFI. Zach Folkman is the co-founder, director, and board member. Prior to WLFI, Zachy was the managing director at Axiom Management Group. What is Axiom? It sounds important, right? Well, it's a snow removal company and it dabbles in building management as well. It's now under new ownership and management. Zachy also founded the online dating platform called Date Hotter Girls from 2010 to 2024, which marketed advice and master classes. This project was non-financial and had more of a lifestyle coaching focus. I found it interesting that he claimed it was non-financial since courses cost between $66 and $97 and $99.97. I guess it wasn't too successful as far as money goes. Alongside partner Mr. Chase Hero, Zachy also sold various products and services outside of crypto, including consumer goods and motivational or self-help content, which included a dietary supplement that claimed weight loss via colon cleanse. Called Regular RX, and obviously not FDA approved. Hero and Folkman were also involved in selling digital educational coaching services, a high-ticket get rich quick class. They ran paid memberships and coaching groups where participants paid monthly fees of $149. By the way, this is the board member and co-founder, just so we're clear. Why I'm talking about him for access to. So he paid $140. You guys would pay $149 to access advice about crypto trading, online income strategies, and financial independence because these two were so good at it. Then they founded the Watchers membership group. Together, Folkman and Hero co-ran a YouTube and social media scam called the Watchers. It's a membership group focused on crypto investing and entrepreneurial training. Members paid recurring fees, and some even paid tens of thousands of dollars for personalized coaching and membership. This was all followed up with the launch of their DeFi platform in early 2024, not too long ago. It was called Doe Finance. By July of 2024, the project had a major flash loan exploit that resulted in approximately $2.5 million in user funds just stolen. No one knows where. Significantly damaging any credibility they had and effectively ending its operations by August of 2024. Are we starting to see a pattern yet? No, maybe? Okay, well, hold on. Let's chase down the pattern then. And as in like chase hero, hero spelled Herro, not to get a little bit confused there. Beyond DeFi, Mr. Hero had a very colorful background. So this is the second guy. So these are the two people who started what would be WLFI, just so we're clear. He had a very colorful background, some of which I touched on earlier just a second ago, but he also founded Pacer Capital, cited as a defunct crypto trading firm no longer operating. Regarding Doe Finance, interesting tidbit here, guys. Despite initial promises to compensate users, reports indicate that only $180,000 of the $2.5 million were actually recovered and or returned. A lawsuit alleging fraud and breach of fiduciary duty was filed against Hero related to these losses, and it's slated for April of 2026. So hold on to that and see where that goes. And if you're here right now, guys, and remotely unsure if the past ingressions has any relevance on WLFI, here are a few character references of WLFI's co-founder, Chase Hero. Pause, breathe. Here it goes. Bloomberg cited this heading. Behind the Trump crypto project is a self-described dirtbag of the internet. Bloomberg went on to say, at one point, Hero even admits to having sold weed. I have no problems with you selling weed if you want to sell weed, but admitting it to Bloomberg, probably a bad idea. He's a fast-talking 39-year-old who shows off his fancy cars and private jet rides on social media. His only crypto project, he called himself the dirtbag of the internet and said that regulators should kick shitheads like me out. He didn't stop there. No, he doubled down. And he said, you can literally sell shit in a can, wrapped in piss, covered in human skin for $1 billion if the story is right, because people will buy it. Hero said about crypto in 2018 on his YouTube video as he recorded driving off in a Rolls Royce. He says this, I'm not going to question the right and the wrong of all that. Now, where am I going with all of this? Well, enter Stephen Witkoff, billionaire real estate developer and longtime Trump associate. He's the one that saw the glowing potential in Folkman and Hero and crypto, and he facilitated the connection with the two defunct crypto businessmen and the Trump family at a golf tournament. Now, before Stephen did this good deed, he of course got his claws into Folkman and Hero with a quid pro quo deal, and he made sure that Witkoff's two sons have a stake in any business that came out of that meeting. Once all parties were introduced, the group pitched the concept that would become WLFI to Donald Trump and his sons. So Alec Witkoff, which is the son, obviously, he became the co-founder, and Zach Witkoff became co-founder and CEO of WLFI. Now, thank God someone had the brains to appoint a person with the pedigree needed for the CEO position with the Trump family attached to this project. Someone had the background in crypto and in finance that could helm this project. Zach Witkoff's resume, it can rival any TradFi executive. I mean, he graduated cum laude with a BS in business administration real estate from the University of Miami. He worked in the real estate group at Wells Fargo and the Ian Schrager Company and in hospitality. And then he went to work for Dad as an executive vice president of development at the Witkoff Group. So no background. And as for the Trump's family involvement, Donald Trump is the co-founder emeritus, which is a symbolic leadership role. Donald Jr. and Eric and Barron, they publicly listed as co-founders, ambassadors, and promotional materials. Billionaire Stephen Witkoff secured his personal interests and what would become World Liberty Finance, and then became U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East. Important note there, because boys and girls, we have reached the riddle that I talked about at the beginning of this. Remember that when I said the question, how do you turn $2.5 million into $2.6 billion? Well, it should come as no surprise. Zach Witkoff, the son of the U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, under Zach's leadership, WLFI pursued and secured deals in the Middle East, including stablecoin integrations and an investment discussion to the tune of $2.6 billion. And that is how you turn $2.5 million loss into $2.6 billion. Those are your leaders of what I'm sure will be the most infamous crypto project. And like any good, sound business leadership, it is of absolute importance. That is why I took the time to go over your leadership of WLFI.
Speechless, right? That's his mic. It just dropped. That was really, really good. Wow.
Being an investigative journalist.
Yeah. That was really amazing. I'm never going to buy the token ever. I mean, I don't have it, and now I don't ever want to.
Oh, you wait till I get to the end when we go down the rabbit hole. When we go down the rabbit hole, you guys are all, well, first of all, you're going to be like, a little too much rabbit hole. But concerning what I just said to you guys about everything that is this project, that rabbit hole should make you want to quiver, and not in a good way.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Do we know if the Witkoffs were ever excluded out of the financial system? That would be curious.
You mean like blacklisted because of crypto?
No, not even just crypto.
Debanked?
Huh?
Debanked?
Yeah, debanked.
Or the Witkoffs ever debanked?
That's insane. Wow.
In an interview with yeah.
So the Witkoffs as well as the Trumps were debanked.
At least in an interview. Give me 2 seconds. Coming. I mean, the citing the information I would take with a grain of salt. Benzinga says that. Oh no, I apologize. No, just the Trumps. Just the Trumps.
I'm assuming Folkman as well as Hero were debanked with all of their.
No, Folkman, and Hero are just a bunch of.
Okay.
Carnival salesmen.
No more questions. The eyebrows speak 1,000 words.
Yeah.
All right. Now, guys, listen, this isn't the end of the story. We're going to talk about the project because who am I to tell you what to invest in? Who are we to tell you what to invest in? So let's go on to layers upon layers, or let's talk about the major shareholders ownership. Do either of you guys have anything on that?
No.
Okay, so I'll talk about it. Everything you're going to hear about this is 100% layered. So the shareholders, a Trump-linked entity called DT Marks DeFi LLC holds about 40% of the equity interest in WLF Holdco LLC, the owner of World Liberty Financial. Okay, just so we all understand. So this LLC owns this LLC, and that LLC owns World Liberty Financial. This entity holds roughly 22.5 billion WLFI tokens. That entity also receives 75% of net protocol revenue after expenses, which means that entity can say whatever the expenses are, we get 75% of net revenue. Okay, just in case we are all wondering what's happening here. Trump's official financial disclosure, OGE Form 278, included income from token sales associated with this project. Various reports cite more than $57 million in reported income from WLFI token proceeds as late of 2024. Other strategic holders, and I want you to hold on to that President Donald Trump sold 57 million worth of coins, because it's really important when it comes to another subject we're going to talk about. Other strategic holders include foreign investors. Examples are UAE ACO 1 Fund, investment of $100 million, and firms like Alt 5 Sigma, and in strategic deals linking with WLFI. So while the token is broadly transferable now, control and economic benefits skew heavily into insider and trading and sponsors. So it is heavily concentrated to the top wallets. Distribution, founders apparently own in 30%. Community incentives and growth is 32.5%. The core team is 2.5%. And the public sales, 35%. Tokenomics, there's 100 billion WLFI tokens in circulating, but however, the circulating supply is 24.6 billion that are currently unlocked. A meaningful portion remains vested or governance controlled. Do you guys want to add anything to the tokenomics of that?
Did you want me to go through the tokenomics of it? Okay.
Do it.
So I'll just start, even though you touched on a couple things, but it's a governance token. It is not an equity in a company or a dividend paying instrument. It's a revenue sharing token. Its stated purpose is governance participation with world liberty ecosystem. The distinction is central to both its validation model and its regulatory positioning. The total supply is 100 billion tokens. High nominal supply reduces the physiological impact security narratives. Price appreciation requires either meaningful demand growth or float constraint, which you were kind of touching on a little bit. Large supply structures typically rely on adoption scale rather than pure scarcity. The utility model, World Liberty Financial's primarily stated utility is governance voting, proposal participation, and ecosystem decision influencing. It does not inherently provide automatic fee captures, strike yields unless later introduced, or direct claim on protocol revenue. This is really important because governance tokens without economic capture mechanisms historically suggest to strain long-term premium validations. The governance structure, World Liberty Financial operates under a hybrid governance model. It typically means that token holders can vote on proposals. Execution on proposals may require multi-signature approval by designated groups, which I'm sure you're going to touch on that because, yeah. There may be voting caps per wallet, and governance is structured not fully permissionless. The implications of that are greater regulatory defensibility compared to a fully decentralized DAO, reduced decentralized purity, and concentration risk if key holders dominate voting influence. And governance token values increase only if government or governance decisions become strategically meaningful. So the economic capture is kind of the most important tokenomic question. Does the WLFI capture economic value from its ecosystem growth? Its potential value derives if implemented or scaled. Its increased ecosystem usage, stablecoin USD1 adoption, lending, borrowing activity, and governance influence over major protocol decisions. That's pretty big. And then, but without that, it's fee redistribution, strike rewards, burn mechanisms, and mandatory token usage of ecosystem preparation. Governance value may require or remain speculative rather than structural, which, this is the core long-term validation question. So the supply distribution risk, any large supply token must be evaluated for team allocation, insider allocation, early investor concentration, unlock schedules, and circulating versus lock supply. So higher insider allocation or large unlocked events can create downward price pressure, perceived centralization, and market distrust. Transparency around vesting schedules is critical in price stability. The seventh part of this is inflation, deflation mechanisms. So as currently structured, based on public positioning, WLFI appears to have fixed maximum supply, no automatic burn mechanisms, and no built-in inflation model. And that means appreciation depends on demand growth rather than supply concentration. Tokens without deflationary pressure require sustained narratives and ecosystem expansion to outperform. Stablecoin ecosystem length. WLFI is tied to an ecosystem that includes the USD-backed stablecoin, USD1. Is WLFI required for stablecoin functionality? Is a key question for this whole thing. And WLFI is not required to mint, redeem, or transact with USD1. Then its price appreciation is, if it's not, then it's indirectly correlated, not mechanically tied. The future upgrades tied to WLFI, which is the free control, governance over reverse management and lending mechanisms, then demand could increase. It could increase. So as of now, the connection appears governance-based and not utility mandated. Do you want to do short-term versus long-term token strengths, or?
I'd like to, I'm sure, Billy, go ahead.
I got nothing to say.
Okay, I'd like to touch on what it is and what it isn't and why, because you started touching about it, and I really would like to touch a couple of those points. So literally, guys, it's not WLFI. It's not money. It's not a stable coin. It doesn't pay you yield. It is simply and only a voting and influence coin for governance. That is it. That is all. Its real value, the ecosystem's real value, is USD1. That's what the real value is.
The liquidity of it, yeah.
Well, I mean, at least that's what they're claiming.
Exactly.
So here's what I want to talk. I want to talk about USD1, if that's okay with you guys, because I know we're talking about world liberty, but you can't have one without the other. Like literally, it is a ecosystem that is like this. So for USD1, it is a dollar-backed stablecoin, initially issued by World Liberty Financial. It's backed by U.S. Treasury, cash equivalents, and dollar deposits, custody by BitGo, and the market cap is one of the largest stablecoins. It's $5 billion. Here's the problem. The problem is, yes, it's backed by, and this is something I did want to share with you guys. I'm just trying to see where I wrote this. Right. So we know it's custody by BitGo. BitGo holds and safeguards the actual assets that back each USD token. BitGo also manages the minting and redemption of USD1. It provides monthly reports. So everything is copacetic. Here's the but, and the but's is a big one. Crow LLP provides independent asset attestations and audits of the reserves backing USD1. And I find it interesting that a $5 billion market cap stablecoin is being audited by a firm like that. In 2018, the SEC charged Crow and partners over serious failures in an audit tied to a company that hid $100 million in tax liabilities. In 2024, the UK audit watchdog fined Crow UK £144,000 for poor quality auditing. They chose a mid-tier global accounting firm, top 50 in the US, yes. So it's not obscure, but it also isn't part of the big four being Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, Ernst & Young. Instead, they chose a company with a few red flags. So again, yes, the ecosystem is talking about USD1. That's where they think that the liquidity is going to be, $5 billion in market cap. But there's some red flags even in something that's supposed to be a one-to-one to the American dollar. Food for thought there. And okay, you have anything to add to that before I continue? Actually, go on with what you're going to say long-term legitimacy.
Okay, long-term, I got to go back to my notes. Sorry, guys. He got me all looking
No
at
worries.
stuff.
I'm sorry.
So long-term strength. So long-term versus or short-term versus long-term strengths. So political branding, high volatility potential, media visibility, and retail attention cycles. I found it kind of weak in the headline risk and regulatory speculation. I'm not sure that this will pass, right?
There's zero chance. Can't.
Yeah.
Not with who's auditing it.
Yeah. So let's see, short-term price appreciation or price action is likely driven more by narrative than token economics, which plays into my overall score of that. Bully has something to say on that. So I think that long-term, the structural part of things, it's going to be, real ecosystem volume will have to grow. Stablecoin adoption, governance relevance, and regulatory clarity, and transparent supply management. Without economic capture, governance tokens historically plateau. So, yeah.
I would like to ask, and this is not a trick question, is there a reason why all three of us skipped beyond the partnerships and integrations aspect?
No, that's next.
I did hit that too. But I think it's because we found something like
the tokenomics are directly linked to USD1, and USD1's where the value is. So you have to go there, because if you stop at World Liberty Finance the token, you've already lost. You have to see the full picture, and the full picture gets a lot more than this, to be completely honest. But anyways, proposed use cases is a good one. Let's talk about that for WLFI. We say proposed use case because right now it has no use case. It doesn't. It's governance token. That's it. That's all. Proposed use cases is tokenizing real assets. They plan to tokenize revenue streams from luxury assets via WLFI ecosystem deals. I'm going to tell you what those deals will look like. Banking licenses. WFI applied for a U.S. national trust charter to more closely integrate with the regulated banking system. I can't even say that without smiling. Debit cards and retail wallets. They plan to integrate USD1 and WFI into payment tools like Apple Pay. And tokenization and lending. The future lending, borrowing, treasury services, like via Aave and V3. Partnerships and integrations, did you look that up?
I did. Let me see. If you have it, you can go with it.
Okay. So blockchain ecosystems, USD1 rollout on Ethereum, BNB Chain, Tron, Canton Network, and planned on Aptos via partnership. USD1 uses Chainlink, CCIP, to enable transfers across multiple blockchains, including Ethereum, BNB, and Chainlink, boosting obviously interoperability. Investors and strategic partners. I already talked a little bit about that, but I'll just go over the few. Foreign funds like Alco One, UAE MGX, and Alta 5 Sigma. There's a memorandum of understanding, or an MOU. It's what you give to somebody with the intention of potentially doing it. So it's like a promise letter. And they signed it with Pakistan's regulators to explore integrating USD1 into regulated digital payments infrastructure, a notable early partnership with a national government. Then there was Justin Sun, who was also an investor. This one's fun. He's the founder of Tron. Some of you guys might know that blockchain. And he's a well-known crypto entrepreneur. He was an early and very large investor into World Liberty Financial. Reports say he's invested tens of millions of dollars into WLFI tokens and supported the project publicly. September 2025, WLFI blacklisted one or more blockchains addresses linked to Justin when he moved 9 million tokens on chain. WFI froze his wallets. This prevented him from trading or using those tokens, even though he says he wasn't selling. His frozen holdings have lost 60 million in the market value as a result, and he publicly protested and wants them unlocked. But as of late reports, they still remain frozen. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because remember that statement I said earlier For those of you who are going to defend the terms and conditions that investors must follow and adhere to for vesting periods, which I totally get and understand, Trump's official financial disclosure, remember what I just said earlier, the OG Form 27A, where he is obviously an early investor by rights. Well, he sold $57 million worth of those coins in 2024. There's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
So for me,
Donald Trump a hypocrite? No.
This isn't so much about Donald Trump, but what's good for if one can do it, then one should be able to do it. This is about us as investors, potential investors, looking at a project, looking at the past, looking at the people in charge of it, looking at the structure of how it's built, looking at the people that invested, looking at everything that could potentially make you money and saying, yes, this is a project where I want to put my hard-earned money. And if any of this sounds like that, I don't even know what to tell you. I would be very sad. So here are the pros of this project, according to me trying to be somebody who is not biased. High visibility and infrastructure, can't deny that. Backing and visibility from prominent figures draw institutional attention, potentially. Stablecoin adoption. USD1 competes in a major market and they have real backing and it's a 5 billion market cap. We cannot deny that. Liquidity and exchange support listed on key exchanges and integrated into multi-chain networks. Cannot deny that. Governance engagement, token holder voting rights allow participation with future direction. Can't deny that. That is what they're claiming. Here are my cons and concerns. Centralization and insider control, governance concentration, political and regulatory risk, criticism of utility, and scam allegations and skepticism online. Some communities label some of the people as grifters or a political play, and I absolutely share this opinion.
I am not ready to jump into pros and cons. I'm still stuck
Go
on
ahead.
the partnerships and integrations.
Do your thing.
And maybe you guys can answer this for me. Could you name a single bank integrating in with the system?
Can I name a single bank integrating with this system?
Yes.
Like
one single bank.
World Liberty? World Liberty?
No. A traditional financial institution. An actual TradFi bank integrating in with the system.
Yes, because of political force.
Who? What bank?
Any bank that wants to kiss the ring of the finger, the ring of the hand.
If we did research on partnerships and integrations, I didn't find a single bank.
No. Oh God, no.
Yes,
there's none.
I didn't find a single bank.
No.
I didn't find a single payment network depending on this system. I also didn't find any enterprises that are actually running live workflows through the system. And I guess when I was digging into it, I'm bringing this back with the difference between the infrastructure and the application layers. And maybe people are going to get confused here, but when you have infrastructure, you start to see real integrations, right? You can actually see where the system is actually running in production. When you have a project that's an application layer, it's more in terms of who is associated with it. Now, I know you had mentioned Ethereum and some of these other chains that are, holding USD1. But this is really the difference of financial institutions depending on it and people kind of associating with this project because of brand alignment. Maybe there's an identity of the community, people who have already been debanked. Maybe you got people who believe in the narrative that they don't want traditional finance to keep this stronghold. So I didn't find any banks. I didn't find any payment networks. I didn't find any enterprises. None. Now, I think that simply just comes down to, because it's in application layers, that utility, if you even want to call it utility, it doesn't show up through that type of demand, right? This is all voluntary usage of people who want to actually deploy their liquidity here. So for me, that was a big downside because it's really the difference between application and infrastructure. No banks, no payment networks, and no enterprises. None. There's no evidence that any existing financial institution needs this system in order to run. None. I just wanted to throw that
I agree.
out there.
Agreed. Wewo?
Yeah, no, well said. I mean, the way that I kind of see it, especially after you guys, after you going through the founders and the co-founders, I feel like you had a lot of really good co-founders who had the gift of gab and to sell a product to people of higher, you know, influence, like Donald Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Barron being probably the only one that understands crypto at, some level, But I think they sold them this idea and they're the face of World Liberty Financial, but they really have no idea what's happening or, you know what I'm saying? They're just sold this. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I see this coin.
If I can, I would also like to jump into this. This is on the WLFI website. This is their risk and their disclosures. Now, I highlighted some things that I thought were pretty important. The risk and uncertainty of classification of digital assets. So, for example, if the tokens were deemed securities in the United States, the ability to acquire, trade, hold, or use, otherwise enter into a transactions involving the token would be more limited. Any such development would negatively impact the utility and the value of the tokens and impose additional compliance and disclosure obligations that would make the tokens more difficult to access, use, or transact. Risks of weakness or exploitability through its cryptography. Advances in cryptography or technical advances such as the development of quantum computers could present risks to WLFI and the protocol by rendering ineffective to the cryptographic consensus mechanisms that underpins many blockchains, including the Ethereum blockchain. That might have been the only two that I thought was worth talking about. So not quantum computing resistant, as well as the risk of declaring it a security. Now, this is not one of those projects where they're not infrastructure, right? So this is not necessarily one of those things where they have to kind of be protected by the regulatory law. Of course, this is something that still touches wallets, smart contracts, liquidity pools. All of those things have their own individual rules and regulations. When you have projects that are like DeFi projects that are similar to this, like Aave, these are projects that were successful because they had kind of direct control points as to where the usage was actually deriving from. Now, when you have an application layer like this, the regulations is not something that's really going to kind of put this token into a level threat. It's more of it, as they explained here, the regulations would kind of put them in the position where it would limit the access, it would limit the liquidity, it would kind of deduce the confidence in it. It would just create friction for people to kind of use this kind of thing. And I think that before we get into the pros and cons, this was definitely something that I had to kind of touch on because it is an application layer. It's held to a different standard in terms of regulations than you would your infrastructures.
Okay, so pros and cons. I obviously shared mine soon. Do you guys have any pros and cons?
Do you have any pros? What are your pros about the project?
The high visibility and infrastructure because of the president-backed coin. Right. Stablecoin adoption of USD1. Liquidity and exchange support, undeniable, for specifically USD1. And then the governance engagement, so the ability to change what they're currently doing to something I'm going to talk about very shortly, which I think is the bigger play. I'd like to hear your pros and cons first, guys.
Bully, do you want to go first?
I mean, no matter how you look at it, since it is an application layer, not an infrastructure, maybe there's more flexibility with that. The downside to it is there's a terrible connection between the token demand and the actual usage. right? As you described it perfectly, it's not a token that is really going to kind of reflect the ongoing activity in it. Very competitive DeFi environment. It's narrative driven. I think is an essential, a huge con. And there is. Let me see. What is it? Is it in here? Huge political attacks. Probably just because the Trump names are in there, but absolutely huge political attacks. Now, I think it's definitely a con because it puts a target on their back. I don't think that when you have big names like the Trump family involved in this project that it gives them a pass. I think if anything, it holds them to a higher standard because there is going to be more scrutiny on it. But this is definitely something that we see over and over and over. They are being attacked by representatives for this project. Whether or not I agree with them or I even think that they're rooted in truth, or if it's kind of political bias from people like Elizabeth Warren, that's not for me to say, but the political attacks are there for them.
Wewo?
So I guess, you could go both way with some of the things that Bully was saying too. There for every Trump hater, there's probably obviously some supporters as well. So, but that almost classifies it more as like a meme token for me, right? Like it's not even like a utility. It's a meme at that point. So pros, like you said, strong visibility. It's got some institutional grade partners. It's got the BitGo and the Apex group, the stablecoin ecosystem. It's got the hybrid governance structure, which actually could be really good for regulation. So I thought that was good. High volatility potential. So us crypto lovers love volatility. I do anyway. So then it's got the bank charter thing that may or may not happen. So then the cons are the classification risk for me. So I personally think it's like in that gray area of like the 50%, it's probably going to be deemed a security. But it could go either way. I was actually going to go into the securities too, but that's okay. We don't have to go there. So negative, it's a governance only utility. They don't do very well long-term. Centralization perception. A lot of people think that it's centralized, which could be good or bad for that because centralization in that realm of things is kind of needed, but political volatility is bad and there's a large token supply. So yeah. And so there was a mess. Kentucky Bob says you already missed the pop. That's a con. That's a good one. So I guess that's pretty much it for me.
I got a question for Caveman because
go ahead.
Months ago he came out with a statement and was pretty confident with it. Is USD1 still the only stablecoin that abides by the Genius Act?
As it was written back then, yes.
I'm sorry?
I don't agree with it, but as the act was written back then, months ago, yes.
Do we have an update on
I don't. That's why I said when it was written back then.
Then if that is
We've
the
gone
case,
through
I think that should probably be tossed into the pros.
Yeah.
Unless that's changed, but yes, you're right. Sure.
Yeah, I don't
if
have
that is true. Updated
information on that, but if that is the case, it should be tossed into the pros.
I would say a big con for me as well is the whole team. Like the whole team, other than Trump and I'm not saying I support or not, I'm just saying other than their influence publicly, their co-founders and founders are pretty disgusting people, right? They're like not even like, think of some of the ones that, like I've broken down with you guys just since I've been on the show. The developers of those are like, wow, these are like
top tier.
These are pretty not so great people.
They do have the power.
Specifically,
to
we're
get
referring
a
to the two.
community behind it, just because of some of the names associated with it. Could be a pro, could be a con. Depends on how you look.
No Trumps attached to it. This doesn't get off the ground.
I don't think so at all. 100%.
It's a meme coin at best.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, definitely not a utility project.
No.
Yeah, we're not talking about, that's for sure. We should. Anyways,
This
is
was
more
probably
like,
the
this
best.
is less utility, more unlocked.
Yeah, this was the best breakdown, I think, I think people are going to be surprised.
I promised you guys something. I promised you a rabbit hole. So before we go to conclusions, I want to go down rabbit hole. And the rabbit hole is a big one. Now, I just said, all three of us agree, there's no utility for World Liberty Finance. I actually believe that governance potential to vote for different things is the Trojan horse. I think that there absolutely 100% can be utility. And this is why I'm so against this project and why I hope the 176 people that were here are listening to what we're talking about and just spread this information, because it is of absolute importance of what I'm about to talk about next. Who plays chess? Anybody? I know I freaking love chess. There is no official public indication that World Liberty Financial, WLFI, or its stablecoin USD1 has any formal role in the Board of Peace. Hold on to that thought.
Oh, wait, say that again.
WLFI and USD1, the stablecoin, has any formal role in the Board of Peace. Now hold on to that thought, because this is going to be a rabbit hole we need to talk about. The Board of Peace's official purpose focuses on peace, governance, humanitarian coordination, reconstruction, and diplomacy, not financial instruments or crypto governance. However, reports discuss exploring a dollar-pegged stablecoin concept, not necessarily USD1, as part of an economic rebuilding plan for Gaza. This is an early exploratory stage, not an adopted program. The Board of Peace executive board members, just so we're clear: Donald Trump, chairman; Marco Rubio; Stephen Witkoff. Interesting. I thought we talked about him earlier, right? Yeah, Witkoff is on that. Jared Kushner is on it. Tony Blair is on it. Mark Rowan, Robert Gabriel, Nikolay Maldonov, and Anjay Banga. In case you guys don't know the ones, I mean, there's the president of the World Bank, CEO of Apollo Global Management, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So that's the Board of Peace. But the Board of Peace also has a subboard, for all those who don't know this. And that subboard is called the Gaza Executive Board. It's a special subboard focused on Gaza itself, intended to work closely with the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza. These people include Nikolay Mladinov, which is the High Representative for Gaza, Stephen Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Tony Blair. It also includes I'm going to bastardize these people's names, so I'm not even going to try. It includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people, all from Qatar, Turkey, UAE, Middle East, okay? Countries that are going to be included in the Board of Peace. I didn't make this political, guys. I'm not trying to make it political. They're making it political, which is why I'm bringing it all up, because I actually think that the ecosystem is a far greater play. And that's something we all need to be aware of. Countries most clearly linked to actually wanting to go into the Board of Peace, United States, which they gave $10 billion. Trump administration is giving $10 billion. It only cost $1 billion to get in, but they gave $10 billion to kickstart this program. United Arab Emirates have also given $1 billion. Saudi Arabia has, and Qatar has. Countries that are involved who haven't talked about how much they're going to be giving are Egypt, Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Indonesia, Morocco, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. According to the description of the Board of Peace and the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2803, the organization is authorized to deploy a temporary peacekeeping force, typically means an armed multinational military contingent used to enforce ceasefires, protect civilians, and stabilize regions. Here is also documentation of a civil police force governed by the Board of Peace. So they're going to have a police force and a military force for the Board of Peace. Global regional concerns are the Board of Peace can concentrate significant power into one leadership, and that it will overlap with or replace roles traditionally held by the United Nations peacekeeping system. This is the end game. What you are seeing right here, this is their end game. It's 5D chess. It starts with them making backroom deals, channeling American dollars to the creation of the board, then create a crypto and stablecoin infrastructure that will support a military regime that the elite are in full control of. You will do this because they will tokenize Gaza, and the short-term returns will be too good to be true. But you will have given the very thing they need, so they can take the very thing that they want to control, our rights and our freedom. And
along with all the other stuff, the BIS, like the stuff that's coming, guys, this ties into that whole rabbit hole. But so do you think that this whole thing, not just this World Liberty Financial, but the Board of Peace, do you think this is going to keep Trump in power long after he's president?
He is the lifetime chairman of that board.
Yeah. I mean,
that was really rude. I was losing my mic and I didn't hear a word you said. I'm going to have to watch that on YouTube. And we're going to have another conversation. I didn't hear a word. I was losing my mic. I'm sorry, I'm not.
In my head, I was thinking, Bully doesn't want any part of this conversation, so he's going to figure a way to get out of it, and then he's going to go off screen, and then he's going to come back and say that.
Stop it. I'll watch what you said, and we'll have a conversation about it, because I love a conspiracy theory.
Oh, we should do that one week. We should just do a full-on, what's coming.
That's why I said a rabbit hole, but I don't think it's a rabbit hole. I think they've already started it.
It's not
you have to be able to fund a police force. You have to be able to fund a army. Where is that money coming from? It's $1 billion. $1 billion is just one time.
Right.
So you have to keep this money coming in. You have to be able to fund these operations. And I think that is where the real use case will be for them.
Yeah.
So, all right, conclusion of WLFI, not the rabbit hole, but just WLFI, guys. Let's hear it.
Do you want me to, are we scoring it?
Say what you want to say about the project and then score it.
Okay, so I think it is a garbage product and I would not put 1 penny of my money in it. But that being said, thank you, Caveman, for everything, really. So short term for me, I have 2 scores tonight, which I don't normally, but I do tonight. So short term for me, which is a narrative cycle play, this cycle, it's a 7 out of a 10. I think people will do okay with it because it's hype based. Long-term institutional asset is a 4 out of 10 for me. I did a whole breakdown on this, but I won't bore you guys with it. But that's where I'm at. And just, we've pretty much touched on all the reasons why, but that's where I'm at.
It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. I wouldn't invest $1 in it either. I really don't like the narrative-driven projects at all. I mean, if they can keep the perspective and the narrative going with it and getting people to come in, if somehow they manage to keep the liquidity there, maybe it succeeds. DeFi is a very complicated ecosystem. I'm probably giving this like a 3 out of 10. That's about it.
I was gonna say a little speech about me being an unbiased co-host and talk about the good things about it, and then I was gonna say it's a lot of horse shit because I don't believe that. So I'm gonna skip that paragraph so you guys don't have to hear it because I don't really want to say it. What do I really think? I want to recite the words from the co-founders that came from his own mouth. Regulators should kick shitheads like me out. You can literally sell shit in a can wrapped in piss covered in human skin for $1 billion if the story is right, because people will buy it. If you feel the need to invest in USD1 and you're with Binance being offered 20% APY for deposits over $50,000, have at her, guys. But I'm sure the banks are not too keen on WLFI November proposal, which is holders can stake their WLFI tokens after clarity comes in and earn rewards. Thank you. Earn rewards paid in USD1. And the proposal includes APYs of 18% for short-term lockups, up to 59% for longer locks. I don't think they're going to be happy with that, the banks. But what do I know? Regardless, in my opinion, if you are going to trust your money with these people, there's 163 of you here. If you're going to trust your money with these people and it gets stolen, misplaced, or goes to zero, you were warned by the three of us, and you're going to kind of deserve it. I'm going to give a negative 10 out of 10 for the time that I wasted to research this shit.
No, I think, but look at
a negative 10.
Look at all the greatness you brought by your research. It was not a waste of time because you educated so many people on, just so everybody knows, like, we are very good swimmers. I am very happy in my life. I would never harm myself. My brakes are good. I got a brand new car, 2026. I am like loving life. Just saying. I don't ever leave my house either, so I don't,
All of this was entertainment purposes only. I love life. I think life is great. You should buy whatever you'd like.
That's right.
That's the whole point. Utility Unlocked is not here to tell you what to buy. It is here to tell you what something actually is. And if you can understand that, you're no longer guessing around a project, but it's up to you as an educated investor to decide for yourself. All three of us out.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100% out.
Good.
So I like
that.
Yeah, I love
ugly. Yeah,
freaking fantastic. I in the event that somehow this happens to get off the ground, here's the crazy thing. Yes, do your own research. I agree, Marvin. Here's the thing. Given the world and my lack of faith in humanity, I actually do think that the three of us could be wrong. I think that if people continue to put billions of dollars into this board of peace, that they will have a built-in ecosystem that they own bank, run their own token, their own money, and they can continue to perpetuate this. I actually think we could be wrong.
I mean, and so here's the thing, right? You've got some of the richest people in the whole world, intertwined and intermingling. And I did have a score based on, like how would my score change? It could go up to 8 out of 10 if certain things happened. It could go down to a 3 of it. This one was kind of a tricky one. And I think it's only because of the Trumps are, aligned with it. If the Trumps were out of the picture, it would be a complete flop for me. I wouldn't.
They took the money already. That's the problem. They took the money, which solidifies their short-term success. And now it's just a question of cementing themselves. Here's the thing. I said something like in passing, which I said, they have a keen idea of tokenization for WLFI, right? So if they tokenize the Gaza Strip that they're going to control, they make money on the tokenization, they make money on the fees, they make money on their construction companies, and then they sell the properties or rent out the properties or do whatever the hell they want to do over there. It literally is it's a cake that they're baking right now. They're baking a cake.
Yeah. Yep.
It just doesn't taste very good.
I don't like cake.
It tastes like sand. That's actually quite. So yeah, full circle on that one.
I love it.
Bollocks.
Ready for a vote?
For voting?
A vote?
Okay, you guys, please don't give us another shit project. Give us something that we can